The topics discussed and the information provided on this program is for general information. The hosts of this show are not medical professionals and are expressing their personal views and stories related to their individual lives. Their views are not intended to be used or taken as medical information. If you or a family member have suffered a traumatic brain injury, you should seek help from a practicing licensed physician.
We hope to help you. We want you to know that there's some life after the hurt.
Good morning, evening, afternoon, or wherever you're at. It's Mahlon Whitaker with Brain Mechanics and Matt Duffin. We're doing a continuation of a previous episode in how to reach out, how to satisfy and fulfill, because we have focused a lot on the recovery after the injury, but there are other aspects of life that are important as well for brain health, for the brain mechanic. So today we have Amy and Anna with Two Sisters Ministry, and we also have Phyllis with Feeding Western Wayne. These are local organizations here in Wayne County, and of course, without our host, Matt Duffin, where would we be? We wouldn't. And so today is a further exploration of literally the good we can do. Right, ladies?
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Do I have any good in me?
Yes, everyone does.
Okay, well, we'll go with the good right now. I was going to mention that I've been married 3 times, and with the good, I'm happily divorced 3 times. Now, I think I've got married again because I've been in 11 years of rehab. You know, when I first got hurt, they told me that it was going to be rehab for life. You're going to have to learn this, go learn that again, relearn it. By golly, they were right. I'm forming a blood clot in my left leg as we speak. I had bypass surgery. I think we've talked about that before. 7 years ago. And they just told me my last appointment, they called me in a couple of weeks ago and told me it was only good for 5 years. This is going to happen, that's going to happen. So, I got me one of these to rub on my feet and up and down my leg, and now I'm married to it.
Well, I think what's really important here is Matt's describing some of the awful things that's happened to him and what seems like a continuation. But what should be inspiring to you and is to me is that with all that going on, Matt hasn't given up. And what he's doing is he's reaching out, and in particular today for these ladies and their ministry, because they are Christian organizations, and how you can continue to help. So even if you feel pretty beat up, pretty hurt, you've been rejected a couple of, well, maybe 3 times, okay? Except for your new toy that you got there. And so you don't, Matt and I hope to inspire you today to get to work, okay? Used the expression earlier in the previous show, if you're feeling sorry for yourself and all these things have happened and they're real, I understand that. And you know what I got to tell you? Exactly what my dad told me when I was a little boy and I was frustrated on the farm there. Dry your eyes, get off your ass, we have work to do. And you do too, and you have purpose, and you have wonderful things you can do. Ladies, you're going out and literally feeding people as a start. Is that not correct, Phyllis?
That is correct. Every Thursday, we provide about 220 delivered meals to Western Wayne, hot meals.
Who pays for those? It's a government thing, right?
No, it's all on donation from the
All
community. It's all donated from the community.
Okay.
Brag more on your son if you can, because he's put all this. Scott's a good man.
My son, Scott Powell, he's the minister at a Resurrected Church. He did a lot of research trying to figure out a way that we could help our community, and he did a lot of research finding out how we could feed people in our community because it's a rural area. There's not a lot of food banks. There's no soup kitchens or anything like that, and he came up with the idea that we were going to provide a hot meal every Thursday. We started out in January, the first Thursday in January, we couldn't even give a meal away. We started out with 25, and now we're up to 230 meals every single Thursday. And so this was something that he thought was needed in the community, and we went out and made it work.
No, probably at first people didn't know about you, number one, but also this kind of like, what's the catch? These people are coming to get all preachy with me. Is that? Do you think that's not? That's a spiritual food, but that doesn't come with every meal. I mean, you're willing to feed people even though they might not be willing to listen. Is that correct, Amy?
Well, one thing that people don't realize is when you're called to a church, you know, you're not just there in the four walls. The whole community is your church, so to speak. And you know, you're going to reach out like you know, Resurrected Church reaches out and feeds, and then us at the River. We, in Cambridge City, we have the I'm sorry, help me. What's our organization?
Brianna's Hope.
Brianna's Hope. I'm so sorry. Brianna's Hope. And we reach out, you know, in help with the people that are addicted to come in. We also have a meal for them to come and you know, have their group, and that's our church. And then also on I'm sorry, we get out, and it's not like we're just in our four walls. We're out to minister to our whole community. And no, we're not going to shove Jesus down your throat or anything, but we are going to share the love of Jesus.
That's right.
Physically, mentally, and spiritually, He's there for us.
Actually, kind of showing it based on my understanding of the Bible. I mean, you're supposed to show and do, you know,
Yes.
this is the way
Yes.
we live.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned addictions, drugs, alcohol. Is that the driving force right now for you know, single families or some of the troubles that you see?
That's a
Yes,
lot of
that's-
it.
Yeah.
It's not the only thing.
Okay.
Bullying is a big factor with kids nowadays. We've actually had a couple of kids that threatened suicide that we had to actually
Little people? No, we're talking.
that we had to actually
Little-
talk off a
little
ledge.
children,
We
yes.
had, you know, just pressures nowadays are different than when we were kids. When we were kids, I remember back home we had what we called a fighting tree. You go out to the fighting tree and you settled your dispute.
Yeah.
And that was that. And you know, and
We called that the schoolyard, front yard.
exactly, you know, and we settled our dispute. Nowadays they get bullied so bad, and we actually did have a young man that wanted to die. He
Now,
was
is
being
this
bullied so
because what, the phones or social media or
it's
where they get bullied
everything.
a lot?
Well, they get bullied because of the clothes they wear. They get bullied because they have the wrong shoes on. They're poor, or there's drugs and alcohol in their family.
Well, you know, I know Richmond High School and the schools here themselves, they went through wanting certain clothes for the kids, the uniforms,
Uniforms.
Yeah.
bland clothes.
You know, and it's kind of funny.
I don't know how well that worked out for them.
Yeah.
I know they had a 14-year-old boy that pretty much either shot himself or died by police suicide at Dennis Elementary
I
School or
remember.
junior high school last winter. So, and you have to excuse us with all the coughing. It's been a rough winter.
It's that
Winter.
season?
It's winter. Well,
But yeah, I mean, you know, on the serious note of it, I'm sure it seems like there was always bullies when we were growing up.
yes.
I was probably considered one at times myself, but Now there's a lot of focus, a lot of things happen. We're identifying and we're knowing what's going from it. And we're trying to make a better society for our children, always. Well, I'll go some of the first things you say, and I'll go back to you guys to talk, but maybe one of the first things is opening up the church door a little bit.
One of the things that God showed me was when I was a little girl, and I would get bullied at school, and it wasn't labeled that when we were little, that it wasn't labeled that way, but boy, did I get picked on from the minute I got to school till the minute I left, and on the bus and everywhere I went. But when I got home, I knew that was going to be over with. And today, the social media follows you. You go home and you open up your computer and you still see it. Where me, when I went home, I got to be with my family and I didn't have any issues with that anymore. And I did have a stable family, yes.
A happy family.
Yes, that makes a big difference too. And nowadays, it's not like that when we were. So the bullying I could set aside until I had to face it the next day, but I always knew that I was going to be done. That's why I love being with the children too, because I want them to know somebody cares and somebody understands too. And we all know that Jesus took on all of the burdens of everything, physically, mentally, and spiritually. And when they see people with them, knowing that they too have problems too, and they have issues too, it helps them to understand. Well, nobody's perfect, and nobody goes through life not having any problems. So then it helps them too.
And Jesus said, don't forbid the children to come under me. And the Bible says we're supposed to help the poor. People forget to be thankful. I heard once somebody say, what would you have tomorrow if you only had what you thanked him for today? We're supposed to help other people. That is what Jesus put us here for. That is what we're supposed to do.
We're supposed to be the hands and feet of Jesus.
Exactly.
He sent the disciples out, and we are those people.
Exactly.
We are the church. The church is not a building. We are the church.
Right.
We are the church.
Well, and each of us can, I think, reach out in our own ways. I mean, if you think, as the way Matt opened the show, he should have given up, but he's got a ornery and cantankerous edge that when he challenged by darkness, and that's what I'll call it, all these things coming at him, he's chosen to, get thee behind me, Satan moment. I'm going to go out and get a radio show and a TV show. And I mean, an extraordinary thing that he's done here. Now,
help comes in many forms.
Yes.
I mean,
Right.
Yes.
It does.
And
It's just a voice.
Go ahead.
You just try to give out a voice of reason. America hid brain injuries so long, just like society does.
Yeah.
They still do that in South Africa. I know for a fact, that a well-to-do family can get somebody with a head injury. They'll pretty much the government will buy that child from you or that person and give you to a home somewhere that needs to raise, and they'll give them people money for raising you. However it is, because they just think you're out there, you're lost it. Now, I'm a bit stronger than a lot of people that have had this severe brain injuries, I suppose. But it depends on what direction you're going to go with that. People have problems.
Well, what I'm...
And we base this show and this knowledge off brain injuries, whether it be traumatic or concussion or
You can come a lot of ways. There are other injuries to the brain that are beside the physical, like Matt's experience. I've seen people who are spiritually wounded, maybe even up to and including angry at God. They let their physical challenges be the only inspiration and uninspiration to them, and. What I see is that my wife has had a traumatic brain injury, and she's doing well. For that, I'm grateful. Matt, get to be in his presence and around the shows and help with. And it's, quite frankly, guys, it's pretty neat to see somebody who, you know, and you see others that they're scarcely wounded or scarcely hurt, and they're just like, well, what can I do? Well, there's a lot you can do, and these ladies are proving. And I hope you don't mind, but you have a physical disability, do you not?
Yes, I was born legally blind. I have the optic nerve didn't develop, and they say normally that's in cases of people that have MS or someone that's a preemie. And I was a 9-pound baby. I was on time. There was no way I was a preemie, and I have not seen any other signs of MS. So I'm just one of those cases that they don't know why it happened, but it did.
But people tease you anyway because of that.
Yeah.
You went to regular school?
Yes, I did. And it's funny, I remember my mother saying that the doctor was never really happy with that. They thought that I should have been sent to a private school or a school that would spend more time with me and help me with the blindness. But I learned to go through things and just endure it and go on, and it made me strong. It really did, because what the kids did each day on a normal basis, you know, I had to just really struggle through it, and I had to write everything I heard. Therefore, I could never read what I wrote because I had to write so fast. I never got good writing over that, but, you know, and then later, I wish that we had known I could take a tape player in and just record, but, you know, you learn and
Yes.
you know, but you do with what you have, and you work through it. You just have to.
So for those that may have missed earlier, how are you reaching out, literally showing your faith, ladies? In the case of Two Sisters, what are you doing in particular? That some of the items that you're doing that is the reaching out and showing your faith.
We work with, we help anybody that we can. We help with food. We help with just different portions of bills and things like that. But about 90% of what we do is work with children. We work with children that come from families that are struggling with maybe drugs, alcohol, single mothers that are working hard and having trouble making it, things like that. We work with kids that are bullied. We have a couple of kids that are borderline autistic. We help these kids with school clothes, school supplies, winter coats, things like that, whatever that we can do that they need, that is necessities, and we spend time with them. We take them places, do things with them. We're a nonprofit organization, of course, and everything we do is donations from, you know, the public, but we take these kids to church. We teach them about Jesus, and that I feel is the most important thing. And God has just allowed us to be able to do a lot of things with these kids, but our time, you know, is our most valuable asset. And when it comes to kids that are being left alone a lot or raised by grandparents and things like that, yeah.
And the one thing that God did help us get, which we kept saying, we need a 12-passenger van, we need a 12-passenger van. Well, he gave us a 13-passenger bus.
See you, okay.
Yeah, he did. He upped it. He blessed us.
And that's so you can get children around to different events.
Yes,
You mentioned off air here that you even took them roller skating and fishing and
Yes.
We go on events and things, and Pastor Amy gets out there, and at wintertime we go to the skate on Saturday nights, and she gets out there with her high school pom-poms on her skates, and all the other kids are out there with these light-up skates and things, you know, and she's out there with these. We take a lot of pictures, and we post pictures on Facebook and stuff, and we have a blast. And,
Yes, we do.
And kids on weekends, there's usually kids at my house on weekends, and we have what I like to call real-life lessons, and we talk about important stuff like strangers and, you know, people that might try to
Not be
their
healthy.
hands on us and you know and things like that and what we're going to be when we grow up. We try to teach them that their life doesn't have to be dictated by what they're going through right now. They can go to school. They can be what they want to be. They don't have to be on drugs or be on alcohol or, you know, they don't have, their life doesn't have to turn out to be like they are right now, what they're going through right now. They can make better choices.
Wonderful, wonderful. And then both of you are 501c3s, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Now, what that means for those of you that don't know, that if you've got a business and if you make a donation to either one of these groups, then you can write it off against your taxes. Is that cool or what? At a minimum, you can feel satisfied about actually doing something rather than complaining. As we have seen here lately, politicians won't do this, okay? For whatever reason, they'll talk and they'll pontificate and everything, but when it comes down to it in Western Wayne, Richmond, the counties around us, or wherever you're seeing this, if you really want to affect something, do it yourself. Help out. Help join these ladies. Give them $20. Yeah, I mean, $20. Come on. You can't go past any. Matt, can you go past any burger place and not blow a 20? I mean, come
Oh,
on.
no, not anymore. Not unless you're eating by yourself, and then pretty much.
So the point is that these ladies can turn $20 because you cook, right? You cook these meals? A lot of them?
Yep, I cook.
Okay. So we're talking $20 worth of noodles is like how much? I mean, it's a lot of noodles. Isn't
It is. It's a lot of noodles.
But the point being is that you can help, that you can get involved and you can help.
Well,
And, yes,
I know they've had donated chunks of meat.
Yep.
Here goes the brain energy. I
Ribs
can't
or-
think. Yeah, different loins,
Yeah.
pork loins, different things, and,
Yeah.
and you know we all get big chunks of those when they want to feed us. And
Neat.
so you can donate those avenues.
Yeah.
You can donate food.
Doesn't have
Yeah.
to be just money.
Yeah, and every week on Facebook I put what we're going to need for the week. Like, you know, this week we're doing beef and noodles and mashed potatoes and green beans. So I put a list on Facebook of what people can donate and where they can drop it off and how they can contact us. So each week there's a new list.
And that's the same for you ladies also then?
Yeah.
Well, we don't cook meals,
Yeah.
but
Yours is more of an outreach.
ours
Yeah.
is an outreach. Yeah, we do the monetary donations because we buy their items that they need and things like that. Yeah.
Where was you guys when I was getting my loan for my roof last week?
We've never paid for a roof.
No.
Oh gosh, I needed one.
We can get you an umbrella, I'm sure. Can we, ladies?
Oh, we could get you an umbrella. Now that we can do.
Yes.
Where's my caregiver? See, we pick up all the buckets.
Not as satisfying, but you'll still be dry.
It's all getting taken care of, I guess.
Well, I think the important thing is that what I see you ladies doing is you're taking your faith and you're exhibiting it. And as I said in an earlier show, Western civilization is literally under attack. I mean, and I'm not going to get into all of it, but you see it. Without the basics, you know, thou shalt not lie, cheat, murder, etc., we're getting in a time when everything seems to be permissible by somebody, and we're backing away from common decency, is what I would call it, and that comes from a Judeo-Christian background. And so you might not be into churches, but that's cool. But 8 out of 10 of the 10 Commandments is still a good deal, you know? I mean, they're basic laws and rules of society. What these ladies are showing, in addition to those rules that they might be able to enable and show the young people, is that they are able to show the biggest commandment that I as a Christian have, and that is love. Are you doing this because you're forced to, ladies?
No. Love's the only standard.
This is it?
Yep. Jesus, you know, said to love everyone as he's loved you. So,
That's right.
you know, we do it out of love.
Amen.
Well, for those of you out there who are self-loathing, or maybe you don't think you can do anything, and there's self-loathing that goes on, you know. People run themselves down. You can subcontract it to somebody and feel a lot better, by the way, and then get that off the plate, and you can feel better about yourself. Feel better about yourself by helping out. try and help these ladies. The numbers are going to be up on the screen here, and there's opportunities abound. Why not do it? You know, I'll be a little rude. What the hell? Why not just try it and see how it works for you, okay? You might actually find some satisfaction in this, okay? You won't necessarily have to drive the bus, though if you do have a qualified CDL, you might be able to. But, you know, let's try and help these ladies out. When it comes down to it, it's local, isn't it, Matt? I mean, don't we need to pay attention right here?
Amen.
I mean, we're always thinking about, you know, how bad it is. You mentioned Syria and California and, you know, different places where tragedy is going on. What about Milton and Pennville and?
Well, nobody shot at us in Milton that I know of yet.
Not yet.
And I hope they haven't. They took all my guns. They won't let me have guns. Don't let me drive. Don't let me have drunk. Can't cook. But I get to live at home.
That's so you can focus on this show, Matt.
That's it.
Otherwise, you'd be down at the range or something else. So,
Or sitting here reading. Yeah.
But that's the thing is I want you to look at these ladies, okay? They're genuinely happy in what they do. I mean, this is not one of those things where you kind of force yourself, oh God, I got to go work out at the gym, you know, kind of attitude. They eagerly go to it. So let's think about supporting them. Matt has given you the publicity. He's opened up the place where we know that it's going on. So, Matt, thank you.
You're welcome.
You're doing what you can, man. Well, I didn't know anything about these ladies before this, so.
I'd still be rather writing sports, but I can't.
Well,
Better than working in the factory, which I did too.
you have choices. But now your choice is to help promote these ladies. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate meeting you, and we're going to do whatever we can. Don't you think? Wouldn't that be worthwhile to try and do whatever you can? Come on. $20 doesn't go very far at Kohl's, okay?
No.
And you got everything that you need at Dollar General. And the Dollar Tree, well, you know what that's like, little tiny washcloths and stuff. So, okay, so let's do this thing, all right?
I want to quickly,
Yep. 15
to
seconds.
Miss Pat Webb at the Muncie Support Group for Brain Injury. What a great group. At the David Letterman Building. I'm looking for you, Dave. I think Dave should sit in that Mahlon's chair for a while.
Yes.
In my rotation.
If you see a guy with a lot of gray hair and looks like he's homeless, that's Dave Letterman.
You can look it up on the
He's a cool
Indiana
guy.
Brain Injury Association websites. Muncie, I believe it's the second Tuesday of the month. It may be the first. Pat has a really good group. It's a really strong group. Just went up there and had a Christmas party. It's the only time I go all year, right before Christmas and then Christmas.
All right. I think we're out
I'm
of here.
kidding.
The topics discussed and the information provided on this program is for general information. The hosts of this show are not medical professionals and are expressing their personal views and stories related to their individual lives. Their views are not intended to be used or taken as medical information. If you or a family member have suffered a traumatic brain injury, you should seek help from a practicing licensed physician.